Hey Deep Chatters, I'm Leah Morris here with my co-host Jennifer Butler, and this is Deep Chats Podcast, where we have raw discussions about real life. Each week you can expect unfiltered, no BS conversations from the heart about topics that actually might matter to you. We're just a couple of relationship coaches who want to cut through the small talk and dive deeper. So thanks for joining us on this journey, and be sure to subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode.
Hey Deep Chatters, how's everybody doing today? Today you have Leah and I. We are alone, and we are going to chat today about asking for what you want and what comes up around that, especially as women. I know that I personally have been working through this lately, really coming up on some blocks around my ability to ask for what I want and what that means and kind of what that challenge is inside of me. So Leah and I thought this would be a really great conversation to have. So thank you for joining us. Leah, would you like to say anything about this topic?
When I think about like the asking for what I want, it almost feels like busting through like an egg shell. Like, it's so simple. It's like what you want is like right on the other side of this like very thin thing, but it's like there's so much fear that goes behind it. There's so much conditioning that, you know, we feel like we can't, that not only like will we potentially be judged, but that there'll be rejection that goes along with that. Maybe even, you know, appearing too masculine. It's like deep. Yeah. And so I think like, you know, we can say like, all you have to do is ask for what you want. Ask and you shall receive. And I don't think it's really that easy. And a lot of my clients, and including myself, alongside you, you know, have experienced coming up against that wall where we have to ask ourselves like, well, what am I wanting and why am I not asking for it?
Yeah, as you're speaking, it's so funny. I had this moment of realizing that I'm pretty sure there was a time when I was younger that I didn't even know I could ask.
Totally.
Like, right? It's like, now I know I can ask, but I'm hitting up against blocks, right? Like I'm realizing there's a lot of fear, like you're saying, and a lot of old narrative and even some lack of skill, right? Like, how do you ask for what you want? Like, I don't know that skill, but it just occurred to me as you were speaking that it's new for me to even know that I can ask, because for a long time, I just believed that you just wait. And then eventually, you know, somebody figures it out or life figures it out and then whatever. But yeah, like asking was just not the polite thing to do, not the feminine thing to do.
Yeah, totally. And I think, you know, the waiting for someone else to figure it out, it's like, it's even more like waiting, like to be chosen.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Yeah.
For someone else to ask us what we want.
I keep having this image of like dances back. I don't know, like when our parents talk about how they would go to the dance, right? And the girls would wait. They would just stand and wait to be chosen and asked to dance. And it was like you just waited for a man to choose, a boy, whatever, or even a man. I know they would go to dances as women too. And you wait to see if you're chosen as a woman. Whoa.
So crazy. I remember like not being chosen. Like so when you can reference old pictures from me. I'm sure they're on the internet somewhere, but when I was younger, I had a unibrow. My teeth were like on different sides of the continent, my two front teeth.
Me too.
Really?
Swear to God.
I think now they call that the London look.
Yeah.
But back then it was like bucktooth beaver or something like that. So like we were not being chosen.
No,
at all. And I mean, it definitely created this like just feeling of inadequacy. I also remember down the road when I was like a senior in high school, getting my braces off and going to a dance and still being super awkward, not even knowing, like I was feeling good about myself, but I was like, again, with this like learned thing, like I don't know how to ask. I was like, I'm gonna ask. So I asked somebody to dance, was met with a no. And I was like, okay, that's how that feels. But also it was just kind of like a baby deer learning to walk.
Yeah.
And that's just like a very like tiny example of this, but like now coming into being a businesswoman and being somebody who is, you know, looking for fulfilling relationships with it of all sorts, I have to ask for what I want. And not only ask for what I want, I have to know what I want, and I have to be able to ask for it in a way that is super crystal clear and does not settle for less, which is crazy to think like that we were never, I feel like I'm going off on a tangent, but never taught to even ask in the first place. And now there's this like refined request system that needs to happen in order for us to like really fully have the life that we love. And I think men are sort of given more of that opportunity growing up to refine that skill.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like learning how it's almost like, and I wonder if this is a male woman thing. And I don't say masculine, feminine, because we do live in a society that is very man, woman, male, female. I wonder if there's some element of men just inherently believing they deserve it, and women not really sure and questioning if they deserve it, right? And it's like, I feel like it's like what you said, like first of all, knowing what you want, which I think a lot of us don't even know, right? Knowing what we need, knowing what we want, knowing what we want to ask for. And then being able to communicate it in a way that, like you said, doesn't settle. And another way of saying that is like inspires other people to want to give it to us.
I love that.
Right? It's like, how can I ask for things in a way that inspires the other person to be like, yeah, I want to help you, or yeah, I want to support you, or yeah, I want to give that to you, right? Like, and I think that comes from this place of like, you can only ask in that way if you know inherently that you deserve it. Or that, and that you believe on some level that other people want to be there for you and want to help you or choose you or all of that.
Yeah, definitely. Like the beliefs have a big play in it. I also think like once we really do believe that we can have what we want, we automatically just start giving it to ourselves. Yeah. And so in that automatic like receiving of what it is we need from ourselves, I think that is what inspires people to want to give that to us, because they're like, oh, well, she's treating herself that way. You know, how could I give her anything less than that?
Yeah.
It's almost like an automatic rising up of what it is that you want just because of the way that you're treating yourself. If I'm taking care of myself, eating healthy, spending time alone, valuing my own time, not wasting it on things that don't serve me, I feel that in that giving of those things to myself, people are going to value my time more too. You're not going to want to fill it with things that don't serve my best interest either. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And gosh, like, I feel like every week it somehow always circles back to the fact that it always starts with us, right? Because it really does. And those beliefs are so important because, yeah, I mean, those beliefs around whether or not you deserve it or whether or not people are ever going to show up for you or all of that, they determine, like you're saying, how you treat yourself, like the type of relationship you're in with yourself, and then how you show up in the world, like how you put yourself out there, the words you use, the tone of voice you use, the actions you do or don't take, like they are all born of whatever belief system you have going on, which is, if you're not asking for what you want, is some sort of limiting belief.
Yeah. And the one most recently that sort of spurred this conversation, we were talking about resonance and like not feeling like you were resonating with your audience as much, and it wasn't bringing in people who like really felt aligned with you. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So as I have been exploring this block around asking and trying to really understand what my belief system has been around asking for what I need and for what I want, I've come up with a couple of things. And one of those things is this narrative around, there's two. So there's two narratives that play into it for me, which is, I always give, but I never no one ever gives back. I always give, nobody ever gives back. So there's that narrative that comes into play. So it's like believing that I'm not going to be supported, right? Like people aren't going to show up for me. So I have that playing in my background of my head. And so as I look at that, then I start to break that down, right? First of all, that's a narrative that I have, but it's not true, right? Like people in your life who love you and align with you and resonate with you want to support you. They want to give back to you. They want to show up for you, right? That's the truth. And I know that, right? And so then I break that down even more, like, okay, so then if I believe that, how am I showing up in that? And it starts to, so then what I was saying is like, I start to look at things like, oh, I see, like I don't speak in a very clear way. So it's very confusing for people to know what I'm saying. And so how are they going to resonate with me if I'm not being very clear and succinct, right? Or I don't ask, right? I don't put myself out there. I don't ask because I already expect the no, right? Before I even ask, I expect the no. So if I'm doing that, then most likely I'm asking in a way that isn't inspiring people to want to show up for me. It's probably actually doing the opposite and pushing people away from wanting to show up for me. So like that's kind of where I've been with it, and just really, really rewriting that belief system because it's not true. And then figuring out those ways that I can show up in this different way. And so getting myself really clear on my words and learning how to speak really, really clearly and succinctly, and learning that skill of asking for something in a way that like inspires people to want to help, which honestly is a new skill, something my coach is helping me learn how to do. And it's like you said before, it's like a baby deer learning how to walk, right? Like totally mess it up sometimes and whatever, but I'm trying and I'm learning and I'm getting there. And eventually I'll be very skilled at asking for what I want in a way that inspires people to be like, heck yeah, I want to help you.
Absolutely. I think it's like I have experienced a similar, I think I've experienced similar feelings and behaviors in like nearly all areas of my life. I feel a lot more confident now in that whole resonance factor of what running a coaching business is. Like, I think that that's something a lot of, maybe there's, other coaches out there listening to us right now, but that's something that when you have a business that's really based on the individual, it's like you're like a solopreneur or something.
Yeah.
Was that what they call it?
Yeah.
And you are the face, you are the brand, you are the service, you are the product. And I mean, not the product, but your ability to show up and the voice you're using and the tone it's all you. And the challenge really is to stop saying like, how can I be more like what I think is working for everyone else?
Mm-hmm.
And to just be more who I am, so that the people that resonate most deeply can find me.
Yeah. And
when you're back to this whole asking for what you want, if what you're wanting, is I want to be able to, have people show up, and I want to be able to count on my business thriving, and I want to be able to relax into this flow of abundance that's coming to me. And those are your asks, then you automatically are going to start to pivot your attention to like, what will give me those things? If you're not even going to ask, I think the automatic response, at least for me, is everyone else gets all of the things. Everyone else has people showing up for them. Everyone else is open to the flow of abundance. How can I be like everyone else?
Right.
And I think that's like the wrong ask. And so getting really clear on the things that you're drawing in. And I read this book by Danielle LaPorte called The Desire Map. And it's about what it is that you're wanting and desiring, but it's based on like how you want to be like feeling, the emotions that you want to be pulling in, like how you want to wake up every morning and what do you want to be emanating. Like it's much deeper than the material things of like asking for this much money in the bank, this. I mean, those things could be definitely part of the ask, but like, what are they going to give you? What are they going to make you feel? Anyway, I feel like I'm like all over the place with this, but I'm like really trying to focus on money right now and organization and structure within my business. But because it's because I want to be relaxed in the flow of abundance that's coming to me. And it's because I want to know that I have everything I need and I feel well supported to make bigger, broader leaps with the messaging that I have. Like I'm trying to tie back the things that I'm asking to these feelings as well. And I think that that's helping because it's keeping things really in integrity. And it's also helping me feel a sense of receiving what I'm asking for, even before I've reached that number or even before I've reached that like specific goal. It's like, are you feeling the flow of abundance in the journey to get there? Yes, I'm on the right path. And it's like, it's almost like what you're saying too, of, building what you're building and it not quite being completely built yet, but you are operating in your zone of genius, as Hendricks says, and you're feeling into that flow before the goal is even reached, before the ask is even received. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, feeling into that flow and showing up as the person who you need to be in order to receive what you're asking for, right? Like it can be really easy to say like, I really, you know, just to use like dating, right? Like I really want a partner. I really want to call in my person. I'm ready for a relationship. And my ask is that my king be delivered, right? And okay, perfect. Beautiful ask. Who do you need to be being, right? To be able to receive that person. If you like work 24 hours a day, have every moment of your day scheduled, you have no time or availability whatsoever to receive another human being, right? That person can't enter. If you're emotionally blocked and like asking for something, but emotionally blocked and not really ready to be in an intimate dynamic, right? Then you're not actually ready to receive. And so it's like, okay, you put out the ask, and then who do I need to be being? Oh, okay. Well, when I receive my ask, when my ask, you know, becomes, well, I'm going to have time in my schedule, of course, to nurture my relationship. And I'm going to be constantly working to process and shift around blocks so that I can be fully open and present to another human being, right? And so then you start doing that now, right? Because it's like, make time in your schedule now. Start working through your emotional blocks now. Start becoming who that is way in advance of actually receiving it, because it doesn't work the other way around. It's not like, oh, when it happens, then I'll make time. Oh, when it happens, then I'll start working on myself. It doesn't work that way.
That's so important. I'm envisioning, you know, a garden. And if what you're calling in is this beautiful sunflower and you have a seed and you have your soil, there's so much prep that goes into making sure that sunflower has exactly what it needs in order to arrive, in order to live and to come alive and to be present. Like, you have to take care of the soil. You have to prepare yourself and make yourself fertile and ready and tender and open to receiving. I think it's an important other piece of asking is the receiving.
Yeah, totally. Right. Like, am I even available to receive it? Right. And like business too, right? It's like, if you're asking for successful business and an abundance of clients and whatever your asks are, if you don't have an organized and structured business setup or a calendar that's, you know, working really well and all of that, a bank account, I don't know, like those, you know what I mean? How are you available to receive a really, really, really thriving business? It'll fall apart before it even starts because of the lack of structure and creation of the soil of the structures that need to be in place for a successful business, right? And so it's like, we need to do more than ask. We need to put the ask out there, but then really tune into, okay, are we really available for what we're asking for?
Yeah, there's these like affirmations. I'm crazy about affirmations. I love them so much. But
me too.
I think that sometimes there's this idea of like, I'm going to make my ask the affirmation. And I feel that's even more powerful to make the readiness to receive the affirmation. I'm ready to receive being fully loved and being fully seen or whatever. I'm ready to receive the flow of abundance that's coming to me. And having that be more of an affirmation to focus on is like, yeah, is that soil ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, my affirmation this week is exactly that. It's people are really excited to support me and show up for me, and I'm fully ready to receive it all. Right? It's like, because everything's a give and take. Everything's an energetic exchange. And so I agree. I'm always trying to, like, in my affirmations, whenever I can, allow there to be that like in and out flow. because there has to be an exchange of energy in everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a client recently who was actually, I've had a few people that I've helped ask for raises at work. And there's so much like trepidation when it comes to doing that, especially if you've never done it before. But I just love walking people through this process. I've done it a few times and I've definitely learned a lot about what that really means. But a big piece of, and I know this is a really specific example, but I believe that a big piece of asking for the raise is, yes, believing what you want, clearly stating it, clearly asking, but also like finishing that request with, this is what I'm prepared to bring more of to your company, to your business. And in that way, there's this, I feel like it's an opening up of receiving that raise. Like, I'm going to keep working towards this for you no matter what, so that I can fully receive whatever promotion or raise that I'm asking for, rather than it just being hinged on the somebody choosing you. It's you choosing to show up more fully for the company going forward, regardless. It's an interesting little like trick that I like to use that I think really helps in that, like tending to that soil of like, my worth isn't hinged on this number or this position. I'm going to provide value in this way going forward, no matter what, because this is how I show up.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, it's a way to ask for more from a place of abundance instead of a place of lack, right? It's like, hi, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to like put this into our workspace. And in return for that, you're going to give me more money. Very different.
Absolutely. And if I don't receive more money, I'm going to show up like that anyway. And if that doesn't align for me anymore, I'm going to show up that way for something else.
Right.
Or somewhere else.
Yep.
And that's exactly, what you're saying. Like, it's not from a place of scarcity. It's from a place of abundance.
Yeah.
And that goes for relationships too. It's like, listen, like I'm all in.
Yeah.
I want all in, fully engaged, fully, full acceptance, supportive type of relationship. And I'm going to show up that way. So you better meet me where I am, or else I'm going to move on. But I'm definitely not going to like not show up that way just because you don't.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's one of the key components, right? Let go of outcome, right? Yes. Be it anyway, right? It's like, because if you only are being it contingent on the outcome, it doesn't work. But it's showing up that way, being that, living into that, and letting go of whatever that outcome is, and trusting that just in you showing up and being that, it's the universe has you, right? Like, it might not be this outcome, but I always like to say this or something better, right? It'll be this or something better. If it's not this, it'll be something better.
I love that, actually.
Yeah, this or something better.
Yeah, that's so like, that feels so light to hear. Because it always is. It always is this or something better. It's just, we get so attached to the outcome that it feels like rejection when that's not met, or it feels like failure. It feels like lack. But it's just a rerouting.
Yeah.
To something better.
Exactly. If you can trust in that, then everything's like wonderful, really, because you're like, wow, this is awesome. It didn't work out. I'm going to get something better. Like if I wanted this so bad, then can you imagine what's coming? Like, it's almost like exciting to get rejected if you really trust that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually reading through my journal, which is extensive to say the least. And I was reading through it yesterday, and it was like so many emo entries of like rejection and disappointment and feeling like misunderstood and lonely, and those are real feelings. And then I kept reading, and it's just like better and better, and then there's another like, you know, thing that wasn't met, and then better. And it's just, as long as I think it's an important thing to sometimes look back and say, because we all have dealt with rejection. We all have dealt with our needs not being met and our asks not being met and not being able to receive the things that we actually want. But if we keep looking at it as like, how can we grow from here? And we've talked about this a few times, but what else? What's next? What more? What's here? You know, just asking of those questions in a generative way, I think, is always going to lead us to something better.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I think if all of that, I think, helps with the, you know, what is it, like 20 seconds of courage? You just need 20 seconds of courage to ask for anything, right? So just 20 seconds. Is that from Hitch or something? It's from a movie.
I think so.
But yeah, I mean, I think all of that helps with that courage, like getting that 20 seconds of courage to just ask, right? Because if it's a yes, awesome. If it's a no, awesome. Ouch, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Might take a little, you know, punch to the gut, but awesome.
Yeah. I'm inspired now to actually like ask for something today. You know,
yeah.
like something that I've been avoiding. Like, I feel like, yeah, I think I'm sort of, like I said, I feel like I'm in an egg right now, which is nice and warm and safe, but I'm like ready to bust out. And I think I'm just thinking out loud, but I feel like I need support in like the next phase of what I'm trying to create for my life. And I don't want to do it alone anymore in terms of my business specifically, really. And I think I'm ready. I'm ready to receive support as abundance flows to me. Boom.
Bam. Love that.
Yeah.
Love it. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I am in full ask mode because I am finally launching my membership site that I have been like, it's my baby. I feel like I'm giving birth. I've wanted to do for so long, and it's finally here. So in the next few weeks, it'll be kind of going, you know, whatever, launching. I hate that word, launching, opening. So yeah, so I am in full like asking for support and asking for people to kind of show up for me. And so I am like totally like just vulnerably walking into my old narrative and really breaking it down by just asking.
Is there anything that like you want to ask right now from the audience or from me even? Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess the ask from the audience is just to, I guess, head over to my website and join my mailing list so that you can see it as it opens. And if it resonates with you, amazing. And if it doesn't, then share it, right? Like, we all have people in our lives who, gosh, it's horrible. We all have people in our lives who are going through divorce. I can't believe that that's an honest statement, but I think it is at this point. And so you never know who you're helping just by sharing like an opportunity like that. So yeah, so if you can check it out and if it resonates with you, awesome. If not, then just share it, right? Just share it and might change somebody's life. And then from you, yeah, just read your email. I asked you in your email. I sent you an email.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. And I am happy to show up and to support. Like, I think that's, yeah, I'm glad that I can help. And I hope that, you know, the word launch is kind of funny.
I don't like it.
Sounds very like influencer.
Launch, like, am I taking off in a rocket ship? I don't understand. It's about to open. It's about to become available. It's about to, I don't know. This is why they say launch.
Yeah. On that note, I will include your website or a link to that in the show notes, and you know, a couple of the books that we mentioned today as well. And I actually have an ask from the audience, something that would really help our podcast, if you haven't already, is to go and write a review. You can rate as well, like as far as like up to 5 stars, but the written reviews are super helpful. It takes like 2 minutes, and they just help this podcast to get out there more. And we're really hoping to just reach as many people that this will resonate with. So the more that you can do it, the more visible it becomes. And that is my ask. I would love that. Until next time, Deep Chatters, ask for what you want, and be open to receive and let go of the outcome. Those are the closing phrases that I can think of that are just great takeaways. But take care of yourselves, and thanks for tuning in.
To all you deep chatters out there, Leah and I want to thank you so much for listening. This is a podcast that's all about connection, so we'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on Instagram at Deep Chats Podcast. And if you haven't already, please go to iTunes to rate and review us. Every review helps other deep chatters just like you be able to find this podcast.